What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel. And we are now at the stretch where we now are sitting for the NFL playoffs, waiting for that to happen. We're well on our way through the college football bowl season, and it's New Year's Eve. And I figure, what better way to kick off New Year's Eve than to do another mock draft 2.0 on the channel. We're going to be using the mock draft machine here on the Draft Network. Very simple. You know, it's I don't know if I'm necessarily going to do this for all my mock drafts. Sometimes I like doing like the little graphic spreadsheet stuff that I do. Slideshows, all that stuff. But for the now, I think we're still trying to gauge. We don't know like the full order. And when I make a selection, you guys can kind of see right here who's still left on the board. So I think it adds a little bit more dialogue if I make a wrong pick and you see like if I don't get Joe Burrow right and I take Chase Young and you're like, well, Joe Burrow was still on the board. Like for all these different picks, you guys have that option to come in and try to chat some draft and defend or say why my selection sucks. So without further ado, though, this is going to be the mock draft 2.0 for the 2020 NFL draft. And kicking off, we have the Cincinnati Bengals. It's such an easy pick right now at this point. Joe Burrow, I mean, he's tearing up college football right now. Probably the most prolific SEC quarterback of all time. Everything looks good. Every single thing about him looks good. But I will say, if you had to err on the side of caution, he's a one-year wonder. That's really the only negative that he has going against him. So just keep that in the back of your mind. When you think Joe Burrow is going to take the league over by storm, this and that, he's a one-year wonder. There's a reason why before this season, he was thought of as like a day 3 UDFA type quarterback. And then just out of nowhere, they get Joe Brady from New Orleans. He comes in, revolutionizes the LSU offense. Joe Burrow, exceptional wide receiving core. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Terrace Marshall, Randy Moss kid at tight end. But if this is the pick. This is the pick that you make if you're the Cincinnati Bengals. And right now, Joe Burrow looks really, really damn good. Pick 2, we have the Washington Redskins. And I would have an argument against this pick, but this is the pick they're going to make. Chase Young, get Ron Rivera. Looks like Jack Del Rio's going to be his DC. I don't know what they run. 4-3, 3-4. I feel like they're going to run a 4-3. Either way, 4-3, 3-4. Chase Young is scheme, versatile. Upgrade over Kerrigan, who's getting up there a little bit in age. Only 5.5 sacks this year. Just really starting to show that, you hit that wall. You all hit that wall. And even if you don't have to get rid of him. You just have Chase Young, and then you make Kerrigan your rotational guy. That's pretty healthy to have. But I would argue that the difference between Ryan Kerrigan and Chase Young, right? Because you have Montez Sweat holding down the other side. But the upgrade between Ryan Kerrigan and Chase Young is not going to be as big as whoever they find to take the tackle spot up, because I assume the bridges had been burned with Trent Williams, and getting someone like Andrew Thomas. I think tackle's the best pick for the Redskins, but I just don't see any way anyone passes on Chase Young in this draft. Pick 3 with the Detroit Lions, either going Jeff Okudah, which is kind of weird to see. Corners don't generally go this high, but back-to-back Ohio State picks because they need a corner. And that's just how the draft board, what are they going to get? Derek Brown? Like, it's even more untraditional to see a run-stuffing D-tackle go over a guy that's potentially a shutdown corner. Like, you have to be like a Jalen Ramsey caliber prospect to go top 5. And I think Okudah's right in that territory. When you look at the Detroit Lions, they got to get better on defense. You brought in Matt Patricia for his defense, that Belichick coaching tree, not really seeing it so far right now. Now you got potentially an unhappy corner in Darius Slay. There's a lot of rumors during the trade deadline that he wanted out. But if you keep Slay, him and Okudah, that sounds pretty damn good. If you lose Slay, you have the insurance policy here in Jeff Okudah. Pick 4, the New York Giants, easy, get your tackle. I mean, as an Eagle fan, there's some rumors that they might get Matt Rule from Baylor, which is very annoying. But they did retain Dave Gettleman, which is hilarious because he's given out some awful, awful contracts. Has drafted inconsistent, to say the least. But, to make up for that, that Nate Solder deal, you don't even have a right tackle right now on the team worth a damn. So Andrew Thomas, it's easy. Easy selection. You think he can be your franchise tackle. You think you have your franchise quarterback in Danny Fumbles Dimes. So I think a guy like Andrew Thomas, that's they're running that one up to the podium when it's time for that selection. At pick 5, we have the Miami Dolphins. For now, I'm going to have them go Tua. Right now, I think that if I had to make a bold prediction, it'd be I would not be shocked to see Tua return to school. A lot of people say he is. I remember I made a tweet that I was like, man, I think he's going to return. And a lot of people are like, no, he's going. Why would he ever return? Got that big insurance policy, man. He want to make Alabama great again. You saw Dylan Moses, the talented linebacker from Alabama, first-round prospect. He went back. I mean, he had an injury, but he went back. I think you're going to see some of these Alabama players, the juniors, the underclassmen. I think you could see some of them return. I think Tua could do it. But as we know right now, assuming he gets a clean bill of health, you're Miami. I think this has always been Miami's guy. And like I said, as long as he ticks off all those boxes, he's good to go. There's your quarterback. Pick 6, we have the Chargers. So we don't know what's going on. I'm going to assume when I make this pick that there's no more Phillip Rivers. Moving on from Phillip Rivers. I get they have a terrible offensive line, and I get that for my last 5 mock drafts that I've done for the Chargers, or the last 5 years, I've had them going heavy O-line, and they've decided not to do that. This is kind of like what you get. You reap what you sow. But I'm assuming that from all the talk, Rivers is on the out, so that means they're going to get a quarterback, and they're going to get Justin Herbert. It's a pretty good fit there. Got a lot of great weapons for him to throw to. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry. And then from the rest of the draft, I mean, you got great running backs. So they bring back Melvin Gordon, which I don't know. I think that's up in the air. But Austin Eckler, really nice receiving back. Build the offensive line. Get Herbert, rest of the picks, offensive line. And I think the Chargers will usher in a new era with some success. Pick 7, we have the Carolina Panthers. We'll have them get Derek Brown. For whatever reason, I'm shocked that a run defense is so bad with Luke Kuechly on the team. But when you really look at the front 4, it's just front 3. They changed scheme. It was weird. It was awkward. They were not good against the run. Get a guy that's not only good against the run. We're seeing the value. These guys have been slept on. Derek Brown, I feel like 7's a lot more appropriate than, say, Detroit getting him at 3. Because, he's a space eater. He's a run stuffer that's athletic, that has the ability to push the pocket. That definitely needs to develop his pass rushing moves and stuff like that. But you've seen the success of, like, Dex Lawrence on the Giants or Vita Vea on the Bucs. Just what they do. They make everyone else around them better, and they're dominant within their own right. I think that is the best fit right now. Best improvement to that Panthers defense. And this is all going to be under the assumption, we didn't have them go QB, that Cam Newton will return. Pick 8, we have the Arizona Cardinals. We'll have a good Tristan Wirfs, athletic offensive tackle. I think he will fit Cliff Kingsbury, what he wants to kind of establish on that offense. He's a great mover. Perfect fit for what they have in a quarterback in Kyler Murray. Pick 9, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I actually have the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting Isaiah Simmons first. I think there's enough depth at wide receiver. I think they kind of want a wide out, even though they don't really need a wide receiver. I'm going to argue I might not even go wide receiver pick 20. Do they really need a wide receiver? You watch that Jags team. You're just like, they need a wide receiver, right? Do they, though? They got D.D. Westbrook, has a lot of upside still. DJ Chark had great chemistry with Minshew, assuming Minshew's the quarterback going forward. They could use a wide receiver, but it's not a pressing need. However, at linebacker, their linebacking core, you have Miles Jack, no one else. Like, Donald Payne was garbage. I don't even know who else the other linebackers were. You got, Telvin Smith. Is he going to play again? Is he not going to play again? If Telvin Smith does come back and play again, you pair Isaiah Simmons, Telvin Smith, and Miles Jack, and you have the best linebacking core in the NFL. I think Isaiah Simmons is going to dominate the combine. He's going to get top 10 buzz, legit top 10 buzz, deserved top 10 buzz. He is a jack of all trades on the defense, and they get that right there. Pick 10, we have the Cleveland Browns. Easy selection, Jedrick Wills. Said right away, I thought the Browns were going to underperform this year because they're the worst starting tackles in the NFL. I think Wills from Alabama looks really, really smooth. I'm getting some, he looks like a little bit better prospect right now, like kind of like Cody Ford last year out of Oklahoma. Ford went early 2nd round, and I think the refinement from Wills, a little bit better footwork, is going to put him into the top 10. Now, pick number 11 for the New York Jets. I'm selecting Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver from Alabama. Again, people are thinking that some of these juniors from Alabama are going to return. I don't necessarily know if Judy's going to do that. I think that the time is now. When you look at the Jets, you're going to lose Robbie Anderson in free agency. You have Sam Darnold. You have a franchise quarterback. I'm going to argue with no tackles left on the board, no offensive linemen that really jump off, no edge. Maybe Epinenza could be the selection. I think best value is get Sam Darnold, his wide receiver 1, and they get that in Jerry Jeudy. Pick 12. Let's go back-to-back wide receivers. Raiders kind of upset that Isaiah Simmons went at 9 to the Jags, but they're going to get CeeDee Lamb here. Get a big play wide receiver. A lot of comps to DeAndre Hopkins. He's already declared. You kind of look at the wide receiver. You got Renfrow in the slot. You got a great emerging tight end in Darren Waller. Tyrell Williams is inconsistent, but a nice wide receiver too. But you're missing that wide receiver 1. That's someone that CeeDee Lamb can become. Pick 13, we have the Indianapolis Colts. This is arguably the trickiest pick because I feel like you look at quarterback Jordan Love. If Frank Reich falls in love with him, that's going to be the pick here. They will get Jordan Love and move on from Jacoby Brissett. But if they don't think he's the guy, they're going to be like, all right, well, let's go with Brissett for one more season. Let's get him a weapon at wide receiver. Let's get something we don't have, and that's going to be T. Higgins, the wide receiver from Clemson. You look at the wide receiver core, you have an aging T.Y. Hilton. He's kind of more of a veteran role. You have your burner who you used a high pick last year on, and Paris Campbell. So now you need that big outside jump ball guy. It's not going to be, they got the dude from Carolina, I can't even remember, Funches. No, Funches and Bunches. No, it's going to be T. Higgins. T. Higgins reminding everyone down this playoff stretch, he is that damn good. I think, the combine might not be well for him with a 5-star recruit. I think it's a great fit right here for the Colts if they do decide that Jordan Love is not their guy. Pick 14 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Another assumption, it looks like they're probably going to bring Jameis Winston back after being like the 5,000 yards, 30-30 club, which is dumb. But I'm going to argue, okay, we'll go on the assumption Winston comes back. Because, again, Jordan Love's still sitting there. He's a prospect. He's a developmental prospect. I don't necessarily know if Tampa's in that. I mean, they could be in that play. I don't know. It's just so hard. I'm gonna go here. They're gonna get Epinenza, the defensive end. He can play D end in a 3-4. You add him with Vita Vea, Ndamukong Suh. You have Shaq Barrett who like 17, 18 sacks, something ridiculous like that. You just build up that defense because you look at the offense. If you can hone down the interceptions and the turnovers for Jameis Winston, they can put up points against anybody. But that defense continually puts them in holes. So you got to get the best player at this spot that can help their defense. You have great options. Grant Delpit, Christian Fulton still on the board. A little bit of a slip, but I think Epinenza at edge is the best scheme fit and the biggest improvement. Pick 15, the Denver Broncos. This is a pick that Bronco fan, like I'm trying to look for all these teams for needs. Bronco fans seemingly want, more than anything, they want corner, wide receiver, and tackle. So you're sitting here at wide receiver. You got Ruggs here. But I think the best value, you look at corner, I mean, you got Bryce Callahan, you got, Jackson, Kareem Jackson, kind of a corner safety, whatever you want to classify it. And you got Simmons emerging as a safety. I think at this point, we'll have them go. Man, this is so tricky. We'll have them go Henry Ruggs. I think almost every other mock that I've kind of done, like warming up for this video, I had them going Christian Fulton. But, you got all those guys, Fangio's guys at corner. I feel like when you get a DC like Fangio, there's two ways of thinking about it when you get a DC. There's one way is like you can kind of go budget on defensive players because he knows what he wants. You don't have to get the top refined guy. You can get positions that he might not be the best at, which would be developing wide receivers. You get a guy like Henry Ruggs, you can pair him right away with the dude from SMU. I can't remember. Cortland Sutton. You can pair him with Cortland Sutton. That's pretty damn good. Outside of that, there's not much there at wide receiver. Henry Ruggs can maximize Drew Lock's cannon arm. And then you go budget. You get a guy like Vic Fangio that can find guys second, third, fourth round to fill out that defense because he knows what he's looking for in defensive players. So pick 16, we have the Atlanta Falcons. And I'm going to have the Atlanta Falcons select. See, I was going to have them take Caleb on Chason, but I think Chason could kind of be like, it could be like a Vic Beasley for the negative, where he's not exactly a scheme fit for that defense. Similar builds. I'm going to have them go Christian Fulton. I think corner is a big position. You got Des Trufant is getting out there in age. You brought in Isaiah Oliver, looks pretty nice, but you got to get another guy in there, another player. And I'm not going to say Desmond Trufant's washed. I haven't watched enough Atlanta Falcons to say that, but they have to get better on the defense. And I feel like if you're looking at fits, I think Caleb on Chason is the best edge or Gross Matos, but they're not perfect fits for a Dan Quinn defense. Caleb Chason is more of a 3-4. Matos a little bit more developmental, so go with a sure thing. This clear second best corner in the draft in Christian Fulton. Dallas Cowboys, a little bit upset they didn't get the corner, but they get Grant Delpit at safety. You can play free, you can play strong, you can play a little bit of money back, or you can do everything, jack of all trades in that Dallas Cowboy defense. Going to Miami, second pick for the Dolphins here. I'm going to have them select, they're going to go interior in the offensive line, Tyler Bidash. This guy is as good of an offensive line prospect that I've seen. Just in terms of value, he's not going to go particularly high. But the Dolphins' offensive line is horrific. They have to get the best lineman possible. And I think a guy like Bidash that can play center and or guard is a must-have if Tua is going to be your new quarterback. Now we're looking at the Raiders here, the Oakland Raiders. We already got them a wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb. So we're looking at linebacker. Kenneth Murray, maybe. I don't think he's really a first-round talent. But we're looking at corner. You still got some nice ones here. So I would select Trayvon Diggs, corner from Alabama. I'm not as high as him as most, but he's a standout zone cover corner. Good athlete, long rangey, kind of fits. If Trayvon Mullen was at peak at the kind of corners, the kind of builds that John Gruden wants for his defense, then Trayvon Diggs is going to tick a lot of boxes. Next up, we have the Jags back on the board. Again, I just don't get this argument that they need a wide receiver right away, but I'm going to get roasted if I don't have them taking a wide receiver. So I'm selecting Laviska Shenault, wide receiver from Colorado. I'm going to straight up say, I don't like this pick, but every time I've mocked or talked about the Jags in the draft, people want a wide receiver. So there you go. You get your jack-of-all-trades weapon. They don't really have this type of guy on their squad. You have the deep threat in DJ Chark, a guy that can work underneath in D.D. Westbrook. The rest of Conley and Marquise Lee aren't that great. But Shenault is a jack-of-all-trade weapon on the offense. He's like if you combine, I think, kind of like, I would like to say Cordero Patterson, like Golden Tate into one. Like, he's a much better wide receiver than Cordero Patterson. He's not as refined as Golden Tate yet as a route runner, but the upside is there, and there's your wide receiver. That's all I'm saying. I didn't want to make this pick. I probably would have them go corner, but I know I'd get roasted and toasted, especially if, look, he's saving a wide receiver for the Eagles to pick at 21. No, there you go, Jags fan. There's your wide receiver. So we're sitting here with the Eagles. Not much here at wide receiver. I mean, there's some, Philly needs speed, right? And there's still some speed here. Ayuk, Hamler, Rager, all speed, but you can get one of those guys will be there in the second round. So we look at linebacker, Kenneth Murray, no one's really worth it. We look at corner, and we're going to make the pick of Shaun Wade. Shaun Wade, you saw in the playoff game against Clemson when he went out for a terrible, terrible targeting call. The game changed. He is that good of a corner. I would argue he's closer than Jeff Okudah than people really think. But he's a limited playing time. Really, he's redshirt sophomore. We don't know if he's going to declare yet, but the 5-star recruit, he is a perfect Jim Schwartz corner. He can play inside. He can play slot. He loves to tackle. He's a great athlete. Some good speed for that Eagles defense. I'm looking at all these picks. As an Eagle fan, I'd be happy with Shaun Wade at this point, assuming that we can get some speed at wide receiver in the second and third rounds. Now we have Tennessee up at pick 22, and we're going to have them get Caleb Von Chaisson, perfect fit, perfect edge rusher, partner in crime with Harold Landry, great 3-4 edge fit. We have the Buffalo Bills up next. Now this is where it gets a little tricky because Bills desperately want a possession wide receiver, but there's none there. Got a little bit of a snotty. I guess. I don't even know. Buffalo wide receiver, edge, and offensive tackle are what I have here. And, there's no... They need a possession guy, a big possession guy. You have Cole Beasley, you have John Brown as your speedster. You need that outside possession guy. You're looking at this, you might get that Tylan Wallace if he can declare. Justin Jefferson. I mean, that's a little bit... we'll have them go Gross Matos just because it could be Justin Jefferson. I think that's just too much of a reach right now. A little bit biased because he had that 4 touchdowns against Oklahoma. Gross Matos is the better edge prospect. You got to get better at the edge spot. You have Shaq Lawson. You got Trent Murphy. Those are just guys right now. They're solid contributors, but a guy like Gross Matos has a very high. This is a guy that had 20 and a half TFLs a year ago. A big upside. Pair him with Ed Oliver. Future looks bright. But again, it's just that argument of you look at the Bills, their defense. Is that what needs to get addressed here? I think the offense getting some more weapons, they're getting better on the offense. There's just no one really there. Creed Humphrey's a good value pick, but are you really going to burn, getting a center or an offensive guy? I don't know. It's a tough Buffalo. This is what Buffalo Bills fans, let me know. Who would you have gone here? I honestly don't know. I think you go edge. You just toss it in edge and grab a wide receiver next round. We got Minnesota. They clearly need to go corner. We'll have them go C.J. Henderson from the Florida Gators. I'm not as high as him. I have a second-round grade on C.J. Henderson, but maybe that's just because I'm overly critical as a Gator fan. A lot of people seem to have a consensus first-round grade. And, he looks good. When he looks good, he looks good. I just hate the fact that he took plays off. He pretty much took this whole year off so he'd be healthy for the NFL, which, I can't blame him at the end of the day, but still a little disappointing. Now we have Miami coming up for their third pick. I'm doubling up. They have to fix the offensive line. You get Creed Humphrey. You get Tua Tagovailoa, you get Tyler Biadasz. That is what you have to do. There's still a bunch of running backs left, a bunch of wide receivers, a bunch of playmakers, if that's what you want in the second round. But you build that offensive line. You saw the Minnesota Vikings add one center, and you saw the emergence of Dalvin Cook, right? So you're going to get 2 guys that are even better than Garrett Bradbury that fix that interior of the offensive line. They might not be Quentin Nelson tier, but you fix the offensive line. It has to be paramount. They have the worst offensive line in football. And you have 3 draft picks. 2 of those have to fix that offensive line. If you have a bad offensive line, I don't care if you, at pick 25, you draft, a running back. I don't care if you draft another wide receiver. I don't care if you draft a linebacker. I don't care if you draft an edge rusher, but there's none available anyways. You have a bad O-line. It doesn't matter what your quarterback is. You're going to suck unless you have Russell Wilson. And Tua Tagovailoa, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Josh Rosen, they're not Russell Wilson. Speaking of Russell Wilson, pick 26, we have the Seattle Seahawks. And for Seattle, I have offensive tackle, edge rusher, and nickel corner as their needs. Kind of looking, I just think from what I've seen from tape, I'm not a great evaluator of offensive linemen. But I think Mekhi Becton from Louisville is a first-round caliber tackle. And now you may say, what? I've never heard of this guy. He's 6'7", he's 360-some pounds, and he moves like he's 300 pounds. Now you might say, C4, what is this pick for my Seattle Seahawks? It fits the mold, because they always pick guys out of nowhere, LJ Collier. And also, I'm the guy that called the Texans out of nowhere drafting Titus Howard last year. So for whatever reason, I can fall ass backwards into calling and predicting one good tackle prospect that's off the beaten path. And, Josh Jones from Houston can some hype. But I think at the end of the day, Mekhi Becton is going to be the guy. Becton from Louisville. And they got to get better tackles. For the love of God, Seattle, one of these years when I mock you getting an offensive lineman, you're actually going to do it. You're actually going to come through. So next time I pick 27, we have the New England Patriots. Here's my thinking. You look at New England, tight ends, there's no first-round tight ends. Linebackers, there's no Kenneth Murray, but it doesn't really fit a Patriot pick. Safety, Xavier McKinney. I mean, he's an Alabama player, but safety, he's still got some solid production there from Chung. None of those guys look washed yet that you would burn a first-round pick. You look at, you maybe could look at quarterback at this point. Jordan Love's there, but I think that'd be a slap in the face of Tom Brady to get a first-round quarterback. So then I just think they need explosive plays on offense. So I'm having to select KJ Hamler. I think KJ Hamler is one of the better deep threats in the draft. A little bit more of a Patriot pick. Patriots, again, another team that tend to go outside of the consensus first round to get players that really fit their scheme. And I think KJ Hamler will be a guy that McDaniels, if he's still there, has got to pound the table for. And it kind of was a thorn in the side of Green Bay, who desperately would have been happy enough to get him. So now we're with Green Bay. I'm going to have them get Kenneth. We're going to have them get Kenneth Murray. You know what? I'm going to have him get Kenneth Murray at this point. There's still a lot of value at wide receiver in future rounds. Kenneth Murray, because of Dylan Moses' return to school, there's a huge gap in linebacking talent. They need someone that can come in and be better, be an upgrade over Blake Martinez. And Kenneth Murray has been as much of a riser this season as any player on the defensive side of the ball in college football. Kansas City Chiefs, it's fairly simple. You got to go corner. I think Jeff Gladney, much like I got those vibes from Darnell Savage last year early, came out of nowhere. It was supposed to be like a late day two pick. I was like, man, this guy got first round traits. I'm getting those vibes here from Jeff Gladney, the corner from TCU. Great fit there. Fits what Spagnuolo likes to do on the Kansas City Chiefs defense. We have the New Orleans Saints. I have the Saints actually selecting Jordan Love, the quarterback from Utah State. It's time. You're going to lose Teddy Bridgewater. Taysom Hill's not a quarterback, so get Jordan Love, have him redshirt, get Drew Brees play one more year, and there you go. You have your successor to Drew Brees. We have the 49ers. They need a safety. I'm having going Xavier McKinney, the safety. Can play free, can play strong. Kind of like I said, look at this comparison. Minka Fitzpatrick. That's exactly what they need, comparing with Jaquiski Tartt back there. John Lynch finally gets his safety. And then finishing up here with the Baltimore Ravens as we look at no running backs getting drafted, which is probably unlikely, but I have them going Javon Kinlaw. Get a 3-4 guy. You can play defensive end. You pair him with Michael Pierce and Brandon Williams, and you make that front good. And he is much more when you have Pierce and Williams. Those guys are run stuffers. A guy like Kinlaw has the upside to develop as the pass rusher, the guy that can get to the quarterback, and that is kind of what's missing right now on the Baltimore Ravens defense. So there you go, guys. That is my first round mock draft 2.0, where I have it right now. Let me know what you feel about it in the comment section below. As always, your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Have a happy, safe, merry new year. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.